Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. Monster Hunter released a 10-minute story video that to me is nothing more than a Hunter's Guild propaganda video. And I'm serious, in this video I want to explain why I feel that way. Techniques of propaganda are seen all throughout the video, including but not limited to ad nauseum, association, cult of personality, deceptive editing, euphemisms, exaggeration, glittering, generalities, normalization, and repetition. Finally, at the end of the video, I will share my thoughts on where I feel the story and tone for Monster Hunter Wilds may be going, and what I like or don't like about it. To avoid copyright, I will read the video lines myself instead of using Daisy Ridley's wonderful narration. Before I begin, do note that I've had a theory that the guild are kind of scrummy, so this whole idea that this is from the position of the guild and is a little bit propaganda is more about my impressions of how I view the Hunter's Guild in the game, and it's not meant to knock the video or the script or anything like that. Okay, let's jump in. Since ages long forgotten, one word has defined our very existence: balance. From the humble feline to the ferocious Tigrex, every living being across this vast land plays its part in the great cycle, including us. Though our people dwell in towns and cities, we are also of this land and have our part to play in maintaining the balance of our harmonious world. This is called association, and is a common propaganda technique to get the listener to have their perception manipulated by combining positive and negative things in a bid to create a sense of acceptance for the harmful elements. The last line is nefarious. We know the world is not all harmonious, and by making the listener guilty by association, saying that we all have a part to play in maintaining something that could never be maintained, it traps us into feeling that we're part of the problem and we have a sense of obligation to do something about it, which the guild then goes on later to explain that means supporting the guild. The monsters that exist in the wild, though sometimes a threat to human lives and livelihoods, are an essential part of our world. This is called normalization, where propaganda will make something negative sound like natural and an essential part of our daily lives. For centuries, hunters have been tasked with keeping our ecosystem in balance, facing those that disrupt nature by growing too numerous or too powerful. Who makes this determination? What if humans, part of the ecosystem, are also growing too numerous and powerful? This is called a problem-reaction solution. It's starting by creating the reaction by pre-stating a problem, saying that simply being too numerous will disrupt nature's balance, and offering a predetermined solution, which is to support the guild and its hunters to call the monsters and keep the balance in check, which of course is the guild being the answer to the problem they just proposed. Monsters and hunters alike are integral parts of nature. Monsters are indispensable parts of nature's bounty and essential for human prosperity, and hunters work to return that favor. There may be a shared reverence between hunter and monster, much like two warriors locking eyes across a battlefield. On the surface, this seems like a very nice sentiment, but they're using flowery language, a technique known as euphemisms, a way to use pleasant language to downplay something cruel to sound more acceptable. To reword what they're actually saying, monsters exist as a resource for humans to use, and that by not wasting the corpses of the monsters they kill, hunters are somehow showing some sort of respect and favor to the monsters. Laughable if you ask me. It is this delicate dance between the two that sustains our world even in the face of threats that monsters pose. This line just doesn't make sense, and it's an example of glittering generality. Basically, it sounds nice, but the lines offer no substance at all. Hunters killing monsters that get too large in number or too powerful, then making sure to fully utilize their corpses, is somehow the key to sustaining a harmonious daily life despite the threats of the monsters. They're making the calling of monsters sound like mutual respect, even going as far as calling it a dance. But to shift tone to emphasize that the monsters pose a threat to humans in general, this is setting up the problem that the guild will propose that they are the solution to. Talon, claw, feather, and fin, monsters possess every trait imaginable. The creatures of this world are countless in variety, keeping even the most seasoned of hunters on constant alert. This is a technique known as demonization. They are taking the fact that monsters have natural body parts like feathers and fins and saying that hunters need to be on a constant alert due to this variety. There is nothing wrong with having talons or scales or whatever so not. Neither forest nor grassland grant sanctuary from hungry Deviljho. These monsters are known to emerge from the most unexpected of places to ambush their prey. Why would a forest or grassland, the natural habitat for a Deviljho be a sanctuary from them. Deviljho are hungry and need to eat. Why is that being demonized? One could also say that neither forest nor grassland grant sanctuary from determined hunters. The hunter's eyes turn to the sky, searching for a roaring Seregios circling its next victim. This section is filled with propaganda technique called deceptive editing. The hunters are being shown in the edit as if they are the unexpected targets of the hungry monster, using words like prey and victim. In both these cases, they are just simply monsters hunting other monsters to eat. First off, I don't want to call it laggy acrus or whatever, but it's also this is implying that the very existence of the monster makes the seas and swamps deadly for humans to be in, further demonizing them. Monsters inhabit every corner of our world and are intrinsically linked to their environments. They are not merely part of the landscape, they actively shape it, wielding the ecosystem as a powerful force in their own right. This is also the technique of disassociation. They started by saying that monsters are a natural part of ecosystems in daily life, but now they've turned the tone dark and they say that they use the ecosystems. In fact, the Japanese, they flat out say that they use the ecosystems as a weapon. Rulers of snowy mountains, tyrants of the desert, lords of the marshlands, there exist numerous subspecies of monster, complicating our understanding of them. Once again, with the demonizing language. Rulers, tyrants, and lords. They're using terms to make it sound like humans are at the whim of these monsters and are oppressed by their reign. Then the very fact that they adapt to their environments, resulting in subspecies, is presented as a deterrent for us understanding them and how to deal with them. Blaming monsters for simply existing as if they are diversifying their ranks in order to confuse the enemy is just unacceptable. However, seasoned hunters possess a sharp understanding of what they are pursuing. They are also adept at utilizing the natural behavior of monsters as well as the ecosystem itself. This is a technique called heroic portrayal. They just spent the last few parts saying how monsters are so diverse that it's impossible to keep track of or escape their rule, but now they're offering that the guild's hunters are the heroes and that they know everything and can manipulate the ecosystem, which is drawing a direct parallel to the language they use to describe the monsters, trying to portray them as equals or even play up the power of the hunters. Yet there are some monsters so powerful that hunters speak of them with only awe and reverence. Elder dragons, embodiments of nature's might. Elder dragons have existed since ancient times, though their origins are lost to history. Hunters do not speak of them with awe and reverence, they speak of them in terms of fear-mongering and danger. Since when did the hunters start talking about elder dragons with reverence? The second line makes no sense. If you know that elder dragons have existed since ancient times, what do you mean that their origins are lost to history? Did we even know their origins? Do we even know the origins of life that sprung human beings or the existing monsters? I think what is happening here is the guild is setting up the lack of knowledge as being inevitable, and that the passage of time will erase information naturally, despite the fact that we know that the Hunters Guild is known to cover up information, be selective about who they share it with, and even go as far as burning scrolls and other records about monsters, and a ton of other dubious activities. These creatures possess incredible abilities so formidable that they can disrupt the balance of an entire ecosystem. Even the most experienced hunters must coordinate elite strategies and tactics among their ranks in order to stand a chance. This is a great example of dramatic emphasis. They already said that the normal monsters can wield ecosystems as powerful weapons, so to come back and rephrase it in a more dramatic way exposes a lack of content in what they're actually trying to say. Formidable, disrupt, these are all demonizing words. Then they go back to the heroic portrayal, stating that hunters will use elite strategies and tactics, emphasizing ranks to make them sound more like a military. And then there are monsters of legend, ones that we may never be able to comprehend, yet we must confront. I speak of the black dragon from the ancient age, Fatalis. And when such a threat emerges, hunters must answer the call for the sake of our world is at stake. Fatalis has been known about for a long time, but is suspiciously covered up by the guild. They could have hunted it at any time, but at the end of Iceborne they felt it necessary to bring hunters all the way from the New World back to Schrade, despite the guild headquarters being not that far away, just to face the monster. They claim they don't know anything about the origins of elder dragons, so Saying they can't comprehend Fatalis really doesn't have much more substance as a statement. But if they know and understand nothing about Fatalis, then why do they clearly label it as a threat to the world itself? I also feel that there's a giveaway that the guild knows more about this monster than they're letting on, since she doesn't say the black dragon from ancient times, she puts the word the before ancient age, meaning that it's a clearly defined part of history that is being referred to. A hunter's purpose is not just to end a monster's life. There is no thirst for violence, only an appreciation of life. I believe their true intent is exposed through the translation. In Japanese, they say that the reason behind a hunter's actions don't require a thirst for violence, but rather appreciation of life. The English adds the word not just to end a monster's life, and I think it exposes how they are essentially saying that the main purpose is to kill monsters, but then they try to excuse it as a simple way to say this is an expression of the appreciation of life. This is called justification by necessity. They only kill because they love life. How ironic is that, huh? A hunter's true passion is to maintain the balance between humanity and the creatures whom they love. First, they show an image of a pet, and then they say that hunters just want to protect themselves and the pets. But the phrasing here is suspicious. Propaganda will often get itself tied into knots trying to justify itself. Here they're saying that the balance between humans and pets must be maintained, but it should be referring to the monsters. I believe the imagery and the word passion and love is used here simply to distract and make it feel like the hunters are heroic. Let's say, for example, when they say creatures, they're talking about monsters. Would that even make sense? A hunter's true passion is maintaining the balance between humanity and the monsters whom they love. No, it doesn't make any sense at all. The path a hunter chooses leads them to unforgiving lands far from home and safety, yet though their path is fraught with danger, they push forward. Again and again, hunters are called to draw their sword and bow, undaunted as ferocious monsters bear fang and claw toward them. Undeterred, the quest must be completed. This starts to feel almost like a recruitment speech, glorifying the heroic deeds of the hunter like a member of the military. Emphasis on going far away from home, despite the fact that most hunters will just stick around their villages, since that their primary role is to defend, not kill. And the dramatic words being chosen here just reinforce that they want hunters to be aspirational figures. A hunter must hunt, yet they honor the lives of those they have vanquished. It is this respect that ensures that once the hunt is done, nothing is wasted. Again, back with the justification by necessity argument. A hunter has no choice but to hunt. Yeah, I'm sure they didn't have a choice. The language after this, though, is certainly eye-raising. In order to make the hunters sound more respectful, they shift their tone about monsters to suddenly referring to those that were hunted as lives that were vanquished, trying to make it sound like one, it was inevitable, and two, that not wasting materials is paying homage to a life lost through necessity. This is the argument of moral justification, and it's just wrong. Hunters are trained to be keen observers while out in the field. They watch, learn, and listen to the environment and creatures around them. This knowledge ensures that they understand the impact of their actions before they take them, and this pursuit of knowledge is never ending. This is still part of the recruitment section of the video, emphasizing that the guild will impart onto the hunter knowledge and training, and that they'll never run out of things that they can learn from the guild. The impact of their actions here makes it sound more disciplined like the military, and helps to emphasize that they will wield great power. There is much to be learned from every bit of fur and bone, insect and egg. Our hunters are not merely warriors or rangers. In their work, they caretake the land, ensuring that balance may be maintained in every corner of our world. Our hunters, this is a giveaway that the guild is talking about themselves, are hunters. By killing monsters that have become too plentiful or powerful, they are caretakers of the land. That sounds like the technique of cult of personality, using grandiose language to present the guild as the answer to everyone's problems. Also, I might point out that the guild is not in every corner of the world, as they want you to believe. The forbidden lands of Monster Hunter Wilds or regions of the New World expose this exaggeration. However, this does not mean that they can act without restraint. They are governed by the Hunters Guild, an organization which they must report every detail of the hunts they undertake, and that is responsible for issuing hunting requests. And thanks to the guild's guidance, hunters and monsters can thrive together in the natural world, and for this, we must be grateful. For each plays a vital role in the beauty and balance of nature. First, they set up the hunters as insanely powerful, whose actions can impact the world around them. but now oh, but don't worry, the guild keeps these forces of nature under control, in order to set up the guild as a necessity, that without them, hunters might run wild. This use of dominating language like governed by, must report every detail, responsible, guidance, all point to signs that the guild sees themselves as all-powerful and just. Then they suggest that without the guild, hunters and monsters would not thrive in the world and that people must be thankful for them. This self-congratulatory propaganda is eye-rolling at best. Be grateful for the guild, for without it, hunters would run wild, monsters would murder you, and life would be horrible. In the Japanese, it says something more like the appreciation of life is important whether it's a hunter or a monster, as they're both beautiful parts of nature, but even then this message is clearly guild propaganda. Without the guild, much of what hunters would do would not be possible. The organization offers vital support, ensuring that they have the resources necessary to carry out their important work. The guild facilitates this by providing knowledge and organizing quests, yet this is just one aspect of their mission. Ultimately, the guild aims to study, understand, and preserve the diverse environments that we are all a part of. Rooted in towns and villages, the guild dispatches hunters and research teams to address events that could threaten the ecosystem, providing support along the way. And now we move into dependency propaganda. Without the guild, you'd be helpless. By painting the threat of life without them, they hope you feel dependent and thankful for the guild. Would you believe that without a guild, a hunter would not have the resources needed to hunt or the knowledge to carry it out? I don't think so. Vital support to important work by providing knowledge and organization of tasks. This sounds like some recently graduated student embellishing their resume. The last part mentioning the guild is rooted in towns and villages, I think it has two objectives. One, to paint them as some grassroots organization like by the people for the people, and second, to threaten that the guild has its roots everywhere. They see all and hear all. The guild and its affiliated hunters respect the bounty of nature, including monsters, and waste nothing. The weapons and armors hunters forge from this bounty become symbols of their achievements. Hunters are responsible for creating safe havens for their fellow guild members. When not out hunting, they are establishing places to cook, heal, and rest. Naturally, hunters need rest as well. The guild provides essential aid for their arduous journeys, including living quarters and facilities for their use. The guild issues requests to hunters, such as gathering materials and hunting specific monsters. With the safety of hunters in mind, the guild will make quests to each hunter's skill level and may even organize large-scale investigation teams. Ah yes, the affiliated hunters join today. The repeated use of the word bounty is a technique to make it sound like if you were to join the guild as a hunter, you would be loaded in resources. The emphasis that you can show off your achievements just makes it more aspirational. Then they go down the typical sort of recruitment speech that the guild will be your new life and every aspect of it will be organized and well taken care of. You'll have food, shelter, knowledge, resources, and sleep. The guild will provide all, even objectives, and they will always have your back. Remember kids, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Quests are never ending. If there's one certainty in this world, it's that circumstances are always changing, and so a new quest begins. Each generation of hunter accumulates a little more knowledge about the places they call home and their roles within it. Yet always lurking is the promise of something greater, something exciting, something terrifying, something new. This is called the appeal of excitement, and is the section of the propaganda recruiting message that paints a picture of life as a hunter will never cease to be boring, that there will always be excitement to be found. While I don't necessarily disagree with it, I think it's a little preachy in how it comes off. The world is evolving. Herds of monsters larger than ever before are now being seen roaming diverse environments. Unfamiliar storms roll over the horizon, reshaping the very land they traverse. As a new story unfolds, whispers about the origins of this world, its people, and even the monsters themselves hint at long-forgotten secrets ready to be uncovered. The wilds are calling. It's time to hunt. This seems to talk about Monster Hunter Wilds, the game. Whispers about the origins of the world, its people and monsters. Excuse me? They further clarify by saying secrets long forgotten, and I think this explains why the guild is doing such propaganda to get new hunters to join their ranks. They want to control information, and they want to be the group that are on the ground when any discoveries are made, and to sort of, be the ones to safeguard those. The intentions to me are super clear. Okay, so while you might think that my, sort of breakdown of how I'm interpreting this what I view to be a recruitment propaganda message by the Hunters Guild inside the game, like the lore-wise. I am being serious, and I do think that the guild has always been painted as being a little shady, a little weird, a little secretive. The ending of Iceborne was incredibly eye-raising with the whole, you know, Elder Dragon and Fatalis hunt and something going on behind the scenes with the guild and organizations and stuff. And I've spoken a lot about this, but I think that one of the areas I really like about Monster Hunter is that they have hints of things in the background, but they never really jump into them. We have hints about the ancient civilization. We have hints about, you know, the Hunters Guild or stuff like that. And every now and then we get a little small peek and a little taste. But for the most part, they keep it pretty much headcanon. They don't want to go too much into it. They're just setting up the world in a way that they can add in a bunch of weird stuff, and it works. I'm a little afraid by the tone that they're having here that they're going to jump into the origins of these monsters or the origins of the guild or whatever, because I think that kind of deserves its own game if they're going to do it. And honestly, I'm not that interested to know it. I think it would take away some of the magic. I like being part of the Hunters Guild, even though I think they're shady. I like interacting with the characters in the world and knowing what's actually going on. Knowing if, you know, I don't like human on human drama. And I don't want that too much in this game. I'd much rather have the drama be, you know, the result of something that happens with, you know, the daily life of living in a world in which monsters roam free and humans are trying to remain safe. That means that there's often uprisings and things that they need to take care of that are not necessarily the monster's fault. It's just, you know, something that happens, and hey, humans got to look out for humans, right? They don't go overboard. They don't kill monsters for sport. Well, most of them. But I like that simple nature of it. That sort of almost, you know, modern technology, but in almost like a Jurassic Age type of more down-to-earth setting. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I know there's been a lot of rumors going around online, which I've unfortunately seen. Probably half, you know, incorrect. You know, something about, you know, like, you know, what the story for Wilds where it might be going with the whole, like, extinct species, the guild suspiciously not knowing anything about it and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I don't like the idea of origins of the world, its people and the monsters themselves, and long forgotten secrets waiting to be uncovered. I'm apprehensive about it. I give Capcom the benefit of the doubt. So, ultimately, if the game is fun to play, I can care less. If the story is hit or miss, to be honest. It looks great so far, but yeah, when I saw this thing, I just thought, wow, this is a really wordy video. For fans of the series, I'm sure it was cool, and I'm sure people interpreted it as a very wonderful recap of what we hunters do. But for someone who was brand new to this series, I think the video would confuse them. I think it's too much information in too short of a time, and too many topics. It just jumps around too much, and ultimately I think that there's a contradiction between what actually happens in the world of Monster Hunter and the way that it's presented here, in the way that I actually think that this is kind of like written from the perspective of the Hunters Guild, which again I think is a shady organization. So we'll see if they ever go into that or if it's true, but from everything I've seen, the Hunters Guild, yeah, they do some good stuff, but they're not the best organization around the world. Anyways, thought this would be fun to just go through here and give you sort of a, you know, half of it's kind of a humorous take on it, and half of it's actually pretty serious. But my impressions of the 10-minute video of the introduction of Monster Hunter. Let me know down in the comments below if you think that I'm just being hilarious, being stupid, or if there's any sort of, you know, things that you agree with or don't agree with and why. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this fun little video and looking at this speech, and until next time, happy hunting.